Today's podcast episode is a special one because my guest for today went from being a successful illustrator to building one of the most iconic brands in NFTs and is now leading the charge into the future of IP. Today, I'm sitting down with BurntToast, the co-founder and CEO of Doodles, the team behind those instantly recognizable characters you see everywhere from Twitter to Pharrell Williams' studio. We talked about how it all started, where the brand is going, and what it takes to turn creative vision into a movement. So without further ado, let's get into it. Scott, man, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure having you here. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Thank you for being here, man. Look, we're going to dive right in. And my first question is literally going to be, Scott, do you think NFTs are dead?
Yes. End of discussion. No, man. No, I don't think they're dead. I don't think they can die, actually. I think they're permanent, whether we like it or not. Did the 2021 meta die? Yes, I think it did. I think that overly financialized, whitelist sort of speculation. That mania died, but what was left was communities and belief in the brands and collectability. And I think that's actually the best case scenario.
Do you think they became misunderstood somewhere along the way?
There's no handbook to what we're doing here. This is not an old industry. So I think probably collectively we all lack understanding. And along the way is a very short window. I think it's cool that a group of futurists and dreamers and collectors and enthusiasts are all coming together to figure this out, in the open. So is it misunderstood? Probably, but did we have a choice? I don't think so.
And I think that's one of the biggest parts of the backlash we often see with just founders in general. Is part of it is just exactly like you said, this is the first of its kind, the first time anyone dives into an industry like this, because it's a new industry and it's a new product and it's a new way of building community that we've never built before. And because it's a new way, that expectation between audience or community member and builder, someone trying to ship that community, build it, shape it, is very often, or at least in the beginning, was very difficult to define. What do you think was one of the most misunderstood parts of an NFT?
This sort of race to win out the IP industry is one that is sort of underestimated. I don't think we realize in our sector, in our echo chamber, the ferociousness that is the IP game. The money, the might, is sort of generational wealth that we're up against. I think it's kind of cute that we all think we're going to take over the world because we got a few thousand likes on Twitter, I think we have maybe delusions of grandeur, and we need to focus less on volume and hype and more on the depth and the persistence that we bring to these brands. They need to be meaningful. They need to stand above not just the other blue chips, but all of the IP giants, in the world. So, I think it's exciting, and I think there's a lot of pressure. It feels almost like a lot of us raise money and stuff, and then we're tasked with making a startup. But imagine the first iPhone was invented and designed and polished in an auditorium with people watching. That's kind of like Web3. We have all these people watching us build this company in the it right out in the open, and it's like if we screw up, there's sort of this like feedback in real time, you know. I think like
Yeah. Oh
even the
yeah.
fastest horse can have a sore leg, you know, and um, yeah, I don't know. It's fun though. Like I'm not mad at it. It's cool because with all of these sort of uh, differences and challenges come all kinds of benefits and opportunities and resources. So it's a trade-off. It's just different. But yeah, I guess the short answer is like knowing what you're doing is overrated, and I think we can all figure this out together.
I like that. That's good life advice, not just NFT advice.
Thanks, man.
Very,
I
very,
should
very
take my own
wise.
advice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. You should take your own advice. But I mean, speaking of advice, as a founder, I'm sure you've gotten a lot of advice maybe that you haven't asked for on the timeline.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gotten bad advice, good advice. What would you say is like one of the worst pieces of advice you hear people give founders in general?
Yeah, we get a lot of unsolicited advice. And sorry, it's early here. One of the ones actually, there was this guy, this Hollywood guy, very high profile, was in the space. He was looking at purchasing doodles, and he was asking about roadmap and things and our plans for the future. And we had all these unique ideas, lots of which we've executed on. But he said, "Why blaze new trails when you can just do what people have already done? Just ride their coattails and." You've seen other people show that it works, so why don't you just do that? Why do you risk it? And I think if we all took that advice, we would see no innovation.
Yeah.
We would not have bought an animation studio. We would not have engineered the NFT wrapping or the new auction mechanics. There was all kinds of stuff that we did that if we had taken his advice, we wouldn't have done. So, yeah.
So
And
there's
I
a
think
world.
that's kind of a generic sort of compulsion to play it safe. I think that's actually dangerous.
Oh yeah, especially in an industry like this, in an industry where literally like remaining still or standing still in a space that every single day is shipping new things, where new people are trying new things, throwing things at the wall and hoping it sticks. We've seen people just give that feedback to a lot of companies in the space before, right? We've seen like giants, first movers. I'm sure you can think of a few right now when I'm saying this that have stood still when the industry has been trying so many new things, to the point that it takes them years to adjust. And by the time they've finally let in and let go of their old ways, it's maybe too late. And just like you said,
Yeah,
that's a big threat.
I talk about this a lot. Like a lot of these companies, like Nike and shit that came in, they're a victim of their own size. They can't take risk. They have this like high level management where yeah, I don't know. Like I do think there was a lot of advice to hire high level management too. These people that are meant to be able to see over the mountains when we should be focusing on looking around corners and moving smaller. So yeah, I don't know. You can't bring sort of industry norms and standards into Web3 and expect them to work. Yeah, also just the audience here can smell the lack of authenticity. So
I think the more management there is typically in a company, the more red tape there also is, the slower. Like you said, companies tend to be. And that makes a lot of sense. Well, then Scott, in that case, let me ask you, there's been a lot of change over the last 5 years that we've seen with NFTs. Where do you think NFTs would be in the next 5 years? What's the future for them look like?
So the next 5 years, I mean, outside of CryptoPunks, the industry, the sort of more mainstream industry is like 4 or 5 years old, right? I think.
Yeah.
So 5 years would be a 100% increase on
Double the
the
age.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a substantial jump. I think
Yeah.
what is cool is the sort of the history and the provenance that's going to come with these all of the contributions and significance that these early collections have brought has been recorded, and I think with time that will increase in value. If we trend more towards collectability and less focus on value, I think that's great. That's healthy for the space. That's more sustainable. People who not only want to be here but are proud to be here. And I do think the provenance and the historic significance will bring the value back to these things. So I think that will recur and matter more and be more stable in 5 years from now. The top IPs in the world are all 30 years old. It's clear that time and sort of perseverance brings value and trust to these brands. So I think if this sort of select few are still here in 5 years, and there'll be all kinds of new exciting stuff, I'm sure, new tech. I don't know. I'm optimistic. I think the world is changing before our eyes, on a sort of a weekly cadence. So it's hard to give predictions or future facing guidance right now, but I don't know. I know it'll be here, and I know it will matter more.
Hell, it changes a lot on a daily basis. I know whenever I miss a single day on CT because I decide to go out and maybe have a nice dinner with the wife, then I come back and what the hell has happened?
I know. It's crazy.
Friends.
It's healthy. I'm addicted though.
Healthy.
It is, yeah. But who said we're after health?
Who said we're after health? I know the question of what's to come in the next 5 years is a tough question, especially like in general, right? What's going to happen with NFTs in 5 years? So I'm going to spin that question around and ask you, where do you see Doodles in the next 5 years? And I know it's hard to obviously predict with the changes that happen every day, with the technology that's readily available and that comes out every day. But rather, my intention with this question is, when you close your eyes, what does the final form of Doodles look like for you?
Ubiquity, for sure. Everybody knows what it is. They don't all need to know where it came from, but they know it exists. They familiarize with it like they do a neighbor. I think so. 5 years from now, I mean the tech that's coming. We're at a paradigm shift for humanity. The age of generative AI is as significant as the automobile or electricity. And I think Doodles, I've said before that, art and design are the candy coat that makes tech less terrifying. I believe that Doodles could be sort of a flagship IP that leaned fully into the AI age and was a first mover. So so I would love to say I don't want to say too much, but there's plans to actually push on that. I'm very excited about augmented reality, augmented gaming. We've trained a model on the AI you might have seen on the timeline, but we've got that. We're productizing AI. We have the initiative is Doodles AI, and underneath that is tiered productized. We're starting with like an image model that we're calling the Doodle Slop machine, slop with a P. And then we have a video editor that's fully text to video, and then augmented reality, which is further North Star. I don't think that's 5 years out. I think that's much closer than we think. But yeah, and then of course being a known character brand in technology that sort of right now is still unimaginable. So, but yeah, leaning into new mediums as soon as they pop up.
Wow, that's a lot coming, but it's also a lot. I think that gives us a good idea of exactly where the end goal is and what it looks like, and everything you said in between are nothing but the steps to get there. And it's insane for me because, as I'm sure you remember, if we're to just scroll back 3-4 years ago, NFTs were literally nothing more than maybe just art. Maybe then when with CryptoPunks, maybe in PFP, that people would just rock to show that they're into the blockchain, they're into this tech. At what point did Doodles, or rather, at what point did you realize Doodles was more than just an NFT PFP?
It's a nice question. It always was more than. The moment I realized I don't know, there was a lot. I think when the celebrities, of course, a lot of the celebrities sort of pop up in your DMs as soon as there's money to be made. I've noticed that. They disappear as soon as there isn't. Fuckers. But I should show you my DMs. It's crazy. Liam Payne's in my DMs, man. I left him on red. I feel bad about that.
Wow.
Rest in peace.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, we went down to meet Pharrell, and he came into the room, and the sort of oxygen sucked out of the room, and it was like, holy shit. I'm in the room with Pharrell Williams, and he sounds as beautiful as he looks, and he's just angelic. And we brought him a vinyl, and he was talking about the art and stuff, and he's like, I've seen colors like these, I've seen characters similar to these. But then he like gestured to the vinyl that had been placed on the table, and he goes, but I've never seen it done like this. Wow. I mean, I can still hear him saying that. And I was like, okay, we're moving on another level. And that was the same meeting that he chose to join and work with us. And
wow.
Yeah, so that was one of those moments. And then of course the affirmation that was McDonald's allowing us to be on their cups, In Canada here it was yeah. And then, like in Canada it was Dr. Seuss at the same time. So I'm like, on the stage at the same time, doing the same season as Dr. Seuss, and then following us was like Pokemon or whatever. And it was crazy just to be, I don't know, seen in that same light. And especially with the like Web3 connotation that is maybe I'm not being fair to us, but I feel like it's a bit of a hindrance. Some of these companies take a wide arc around this industry, So if they're willing to like work with us, it means they didn't even come to us, but they went through that sort of barrier to even further to reach us, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we are an NFT project, but we're much more. And
Have you gone
honest
to
with it.
through McDonald's just to get your hands on the McDonald's cup,
Bro, you
McDonald's
know I did.
branded
Yeah, of course.
doodles?
They weren't available here in Canada, and it was the
Okay.
holidays, so um, I was, seeing family and stuff. But I did drive down to Ohio to meet with some engineers, some Doodles
Wow.
engineers last
Wow.
what was it? I guess around Christmas probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I went through a drive-through and just asked for coffee, and they handed me this glowing purple cup, and I wanted to scream, to them like, do you know who I am? I made this, but obviously I didn't. I took it, but I had this shit-eating grin on my face, I'm sure. And yeah,
Why
I
is this
mean,
guy so happy about coffee?
yeah, I know. And then I went to Hawaii like in January and got a cup there too. And it was crazy to fly like, I don't know, it's like a very far flight, like 12 hours or something
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
where I am in Toronto. And there was the art, the brand.
Yeah.
So
There was
yeah,
Doodle.
when I talk about ubiquity, like we're already definitely um closer to that than 99% of all brands will ever reach. So yeah, it's special.
I think one of the proudest moments is also seeing your influence in other people's lives without them knowing sometimes maybe who you are or how you've influenced that. Like, for example, the same question I could ask you about seeing someone else holding a Doodles McDonald's coffee cup or even wearing a Doodles merch or having anything that screams Doodle or is branded Doodles. Have you ever spotted someone on a walk out there that maybe didn't recognize you but had something Doodles related?
Yeah, I have actually many times. It's a very special feeling. I think you articulated that well too. And yeah, it's surreal. Even though it's not like an impactful difference, it's still like, yeah, it's really neat to see it out, in an organic way. I've seen that many times. I've done lots of things that have been commercialized and things for Facebook. I remember I was coming home. I was working on a contract from Facebook, and it was like standing room only on the train. And I guess they had shipped some of the icons I made for them. I wasn't spying on this person, I swear, but their phone was right next to mine basically, and I saw some of the icons I made on their phone on the train on Facebook, and I was like, wow. Yeah, it's much more tangible when it's out in the world, So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And it materialize all around you without people knowing. And I think that can be a bit more powerful even than anyone might realize.
Yeah, definitely. To meet it, it's like, running into an old friend out on the street. It's different than making plans,
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Scott, my last question to you is more of a personal one, but in a world where Doodles failed or not failed, not even existed, in a world where Doodles didn't exist, what would Scott be doing right now?
I won't entertain the word doodles and failed in the same sentence. I do not
Exactly.
live
That's
in
why
a
I took it
reality
back.
where
I was
that
like,
fucking
nah,
exists.
that's
Okay, yeah,
impossible.
cut it out. If it never happened, if we're in an alternate reality, first of all, just because things could have been different doesn't mean they would have been better. I like that phrase. I don't know if that exists or applies here because things are pretty good. But
Yeah.
I think in a reality where doodles never happened is a frightening one for me because my career was doing really well, and the influencer art focused, pristine. There was a real emphasis on technical excellence on like Instagram and stuff, and I excelled in that. You know, my art. I spent a lot of time on it, and I was very celebrated for it. But and then that's was my bridge into meeting the great minds that I would go on to build doodles with, right? Mm-hmm. But since then, that whole landscape has changed. It's more about vlogging. It's more about, artists showing themselves while they work, and to what end? I don't even know how you make money on those. I fear I would be really struggling, and my work would not be known. I wouldn't have met all the incredible people like yourself today, this morning, yeah, I'm glad I don't know that reality. And I think I should just sort of practice gratitude, So thank you for that.
Well, Scott, I'm grateful to be in the room with you, man. I'm grateful to have met you as well, brother. And thank you for coming on to the podcast. It was a pleasure having you on. Any last shout outs that you'd like to give before we wrap up?
Community, my team, you, yourself.
Let's go.
Oh shit. This merch.
Make something.
It was cropped. I wore it. I was all, but no, I'm not trying to plug, but this is coming out soon. But it's a good good mantra. But no, man. Yeah, thank you. That was a nice chat, and I appreciate your time.
Likewise, brother. I appreciate your time, man, and thank you for coming on. Beautiful.
Okay.